Welcome to ATV. My name is Crystal Brown, and I'm here with a special guest today, Gwen Allen. She's been a businesswoman in the city of Seattle and Kent, Mercer Island, and Issaquah for the last almost 40 years. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Now, we're so lucky to have you here with us today because you have so much to offer so many people out there, young, old, people that maybe are having a tough time, especially in this economy. We spoke earlier and you told me that you've been working since the early 70s.
Yes, I ended here in the Seattle area, Northwest Washington State. Didn't know there was such a thing till I got here. I came here in 1972, and around, I think it was July 72 is when I first started my career or my work life here in the state of Washington.
And you said that you had a really strong work ethic because it's what your parents instilled in you.
Yes, my father and my mother were people who believed that working hard was not a bad thing, it was a good thing. And they taught us how to get up and go to work. They taught us how to help others get up and go to work. They taught us how to, in some cases, make people get up and go to work. You know, so that wanting to be whole and well is from knowing how to do something for myself.
Now, what I find most interesting is right now you own your own business.
Yes.
You're one of the advisors for the mayor of Kent, correct?
Yes.
And what I find most interesting is you worked your way up the ladder. You said you tried the college route, and that wasn't really working out for you.
Well, not that it wasn't working out. When I went to college, it was my first freedom. My parents, although they were hard workers, they were very strict. And there was not very much that I could do as a teenager because in most instances I had to take over the family responsibility of the day-to-day, the washing, the cooking, the cleaning, the ironing, all of that stuff because Mama had to go to work.
Right.
Mama was working 2 and 3 jobs and Daddy was out there too, so somebody had to do it. I was the only girl. And so from that, I just learned how to take care of and how to do.
Okay. So you started at actually Safeway.
Yes.
Out in Mercer Island in the 70s.
Yes.
Moved over to Issaquah.
Yes.
I find it interesting you worked first in the meat department for years, correct?
Well, I started out as a checker
Okay.
for Safeway, 1972. And if anybody can recall seeing the checkers with those pink dresses that looked like waitress dresses and wore these stockings and the white, I call them nurses' shoes.
Wow.
That was my uniform for Safeway. And I did that. I went through 3 years of that before I transferred over into the meat department. And through a few trainings and skills adjustments and all this kind of stuff, I became a journeyman meat wrapper. And that helped me to advance in the career of meat market industry a little bit further by being able to help somebody else get into that business as well and learn how to wrap meat.
Right. And there was one point where during your career at Safeway where you were stuffing chickens all day.
Yeah.
That was it from open to close.
And this is where I was tested as to my work ethic and as to do I really want to do this, meeting me really early in life. I mean, when you get hired and somebody tells you your job is to bag chickens, pallets of chickens all day long, and that's all you do. There has to be some sort of something built in you, or there has to be a great reason that you need to do this. And so I think a lot of that came together and said, okay, this is it. You got to either do it or don't.
And you had
I did it.
Some great inner
and
strength.
I became the best chicken stuffer they ever had.
Well, you hold that title well. But you transferred over from Safeway to Associated Grocery?
Yes, that was through kind of a process. I did a little stopover at the Thriftway Uddenberg Corporation. They hired me when they were building what was the Thriftway store up on 23rd and Jackson in Seattle.
I know of that.
Up on in the CD it was called.
Which I believe it's now a Red Apple.
Yes,
I remember
it's
it as
Apple.
the Thriftway.
Yeah, and I left right before that transition into that. So I was there the day the ground was laid for that store, and I worked inside that store for a total of 17 years until I went to be in the sales department for Associated Grocers.
Wow. So now I know there were a few bumps in your career along the way, laid off a few times, partly due to the economy.
Yes.
But what I find fascinating is that you advanced up the ladder, each company you went to. Things don't work out sometimes in the economy, you get laid off. At one point you just took some time off, about 9 months.
Oh, yes,
and enjoyed the
Yes, I
unemployment
did.
that you
I mean,
worked
you
hard
pay into
for.
this stuff. Sometimes you sort of
Exactly.
wonder, you know, if I don't use it, who's going to get it?
Exactly.
And so I'd like to take care of it myself. So 9 months, yes, to the T, nothing.
I think
did nothing.
stuffing chickens as long as you did.
Right now.
It's just us.
No, I did that, and it was so great because I just purchased a home, and I didn't really have time to kind of enjoy my home. So me and my couch and soap operas and, you know, just kind of laying dead doing nothing and cleaning and stuff like that, it worked wonders for me. And 9 months to the day was when I started my search again to go back into the workforce.
Wow. And during this time, which we've failed to mention, you had a daughter. So you were a
Yes.
single mom during this
Yes.
time as well.
Well, my daughter came with me when I first came to Seattle in '72. She was 2 months old when I got here.
Wow.
And she's been here and there, but now she's back with her daughter and her daughter's daughter, which makes me a great grandmother. And I'm just loving it.
Wow.
I'm loving that my children are grown. I have a son who plays professional basketball over in Argentina,
Oh,
Jason
incredible.
Michael Robinson. And he's doing very well. He's been in the European circuit for maybe about 8 years now, maybe 9 years.
Wow.
And he tends to like it because, you know, he says, Mom, you know, you got to do what you got to do.
Right.
He has a family now, and
Good for him.
they're just living life. But I'm glad that I'm able to see my girls here in front of me. There is a special connection. I mean, I am so totally blessed. If people ask why I grin so much or I'm so happy sometimes, it's because I can't believe I'm walking alive and there's my daughter, and then there's my daughter's daughter, and then there's my daughter's daughter. And then on top of that, my mother is still alive.
Wow.
So I am just like,
That
you
is
know,
incredible.
No matter what happens, no
That's
matter
incredible.
what happens, I always will be blessed.
Wow, that is that is incredible. I love hearing that. And we should mention what you're doing now, what you've been doing. It's been this last year has been a huge transition for you.
Yes.
You weren't really into the politics very much. I can't say I am either, but you suddenly found yourself pretty much right there in front of the mayor of
Front
Kent.
and center. I mean, to say you're going to run for city council and to actually put feet to that was something that I'd never, ever, ever ventured into because I didn't like politics, didn't like to talk it, didn't like people who talked it, and just, you know, that wasn't my world. I was just a salesperson. I was selling things. I can sell things. That's
Right.
what I did. And I worked hard. That's what I did.
Right.
I enjoyed sports, you know, had a good time with that. That's what I did. But somewhere along me getting settled out here in Kent, buying my home and becoming a part of the community and watching things happen and not knowing why those things happen and not knowing how I need to find out how those things happen, all of that was calling me, I guess, to say, you can run for city council.
Right. And the perfect person to do it. I mean, you've been involved, you have family here, you've been involved in the city and sales, like you said, for years. And to mention too, you're an advisor to the mayor of Kent, but you also have an organization that you work with called the Kent Black Action Commission.
Yes.
And I'd love for you to tell a little more about that, how you support the community, how you outreach, what exactly does that commission do?
Yes. Kent Black Action Commission is a group of folks who came together for the sense of unity first, and to reach out and say, who else is feeling like this that we need to come together? We find ourselves out here in the city of Kent and Auburn, Federal Way, Des Moines and Burien and all these places, and most of us have come from Seattle proper. Most of us have grown up, and when I'm speaking of my age, and under. I don't know why I just did that. I had never had a problem telling my age. I'm 60 years old.
You look great.
But we grew up and we were in Seattle and we had all of those things. I remember when we had the restaurants and the nightclubs and the grocery stores on the corner and all those things that we as a people needed, we had it coming from and working with our people. Well, because of being either pushed out or driven out or gentrified out or bought out, all of that has caused a numerous amount of people to find themselves in the South King County region. Because the folks who started having the conversations about it that I started to run into we principally live in Kent, so thus Kent Black Action Commission, but it reaches for and through the South King County region.
Right.
We want to be able to serve and uphold the Black community, whatever shape we find ourselves in. We want to bring that together, be a force towards each other to say we must and we will continue to grow.
Right. And I'd like to read the mission statement for the audience out there. The mission statement of the Kent Black Action Commission is to improve and promote the social, political, economic, spiritual, and educational conditions of the Black community in Kent, Washington, and South King County regions. So like you said, it's called the Kent Black Action Commission, but it really reaches most of South King County.
And our intent is that we end up having a Renton Black Action Commission. Black because principally all of us are people of color, principally Black color, you know, so I hope folks don't get caught up on that. It's a way we identify ourselves.
Right.
If it calls for us to make some adjustments, we can do that.
Right.
But the forming foundational group was from Kent. We all were Black. We felt a commission to take some action and do something.
Right.
So we're very proud of our name. We labored over our name inside of a garage, you know, in our meetings that we first had, you know, because we wanted to make sure that the meaning of the word did speak to who we were as a people in the city and who we want to be and continue to be in the city.
And it's about unity and growth.
Yes,
So.
exactly.
Well, Gwen, I want to thank you. First, though, I want to mention, though, that on top of the things that we've talked about, you also own your own business.
Yes.
And it's a hair shop, correct?
Yes. C&G Hair and Beauty Supply, 24228 104th Avenue Southeast on East Hill in Kent. My husband Charles and I are very, very proud to be owners of this establishment. It is a dream come true in a lot of different ways, and we're looking at it as not just something for ourselves, but we intend with purpose to make it a part of the community in as many ways as possible. My mind is always spinning and wanting to do something more than just what I'm doing. And I find myself offering what Charles and I have, and he does too. What we have, we should be sharing it with someone. We should be making access to something through someone else or for someone else. So C&G is where a lot of people have learned about KBAC.
Okay.
C&G is where there's community information on our community window. C&G is where people can come and seek out that help or source or resource that they're having issue with or complaint of. We're just finding ourselves as a part of the community up there, and we want to be engaging. The world is coming through the door of C&G, and we love it.
It's a one-stop shop.
Yes.
So make sure you support the local business. Well,
Please
Gwen,
do.
I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk. I know you left your husband at the shop.
Yes,
You got to get
yes.
back there to him. But
Yes.
thank you so much for taking the time to tell your story to the community.
Thank
I
you
feel
for
like
having
it's
me.
uplifting, and I feel like it's inspiring. And I feel like we got some information out there to people who might not have even known that existed. So.
Yes, and I'm not opposed to anyone contacting me to, whether it's through KBAC. Our website is www.kentblackactioncommission.com. And we have a way for you to leave your contact information so we can make sure that you're aware of what we're doing, how we're going to do it, and how you can help us do it.
Fantastic.
So, yes.
This is Crystal Brown with ATV. Thank you to our special guest, Gwen Allen.
Thank you.